Wait, just in case. Just in case I need my tools. I need a tool.
Cat tool bag?
Just in case, here's one tool.
This is Kat Toren, my co-host for the show, my musical partner, my spiritual sister, and the first double agent spy assassin I would ever call in a pinch. Here she is with barely any musical skills, yet already making people feel things they didn't know they could feel. And here she is winning some big fancy award for composition. We both compose music, but Kat also has this Marvel superpower ability to be able to compose living things. Where's the award for that? For the past 4 years, we've been doing what musicians do when no one else is around, playing sessions in her living room. And that's what inspired the idea for this show. We want to give you a backstage pass at what musicians do, how they collaborate, and what it's like to hang out with all of these weirdos. Okay, one more cat photo. Well, 2 cats, I guess. Alright, I lied. One more. Oh my god. That's cute. Oh, and here's pretty much everything you need to know about me. Yeah, you got it, man. These 2 people love music way too much. We adore musicians and their knowledge and their little quirks, and we both are proud to be a part of the most creative, diverse, and talent-filled music scene in the world, the one right here in Brooklyn, New York. For this special episode of the show, we wanted to share with you what we hope to do right here at Brooklyn Living Room Sessions and just a bit about us. Hope you enjoy. So, yeah, welcome to your own show.
Oh, thank
It's
you
a
so much.
strange kind of thing to do.
Am
This
I the
is-
co-pilot?
As far as anybody who asks me, you do everything. You do all the filming, the editing, the recording, the booking, and everything else. And if they like it, I'm like, no, I do some of it. I do pretty much all of it. If they love it, I'm like, actually, I do all that stuff.
They don't like it. That's Cat.
If they don't like it, I'm like, yeah, we have a person who does it. His name's Henry Steen, and he does all the film work and the audio work. But if they're like, it sounds great, I'm like, thanks. I've been working hard to learn how to do audio work.
I get it. That's how we've made it in our careers.
Yeah, by faking it. Tim Higgins told me that. He said the answer is fake it better than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows how to do jazz. So, which is kind of true if you think about it. The theme of the show is improvisation. So I kind of wanted to clear up off the bat what that meant. So for us in our duo, we play a lot of free improvisations,
Yeah.
which, like you said, we just pull the chord and go. We don't talk about it, and it ends up being really, really spontaneous. But there's a lot of different levels of improvisation. For example, there's structured improvisation in contemporary music. Jazz is, of course, known as the improvisational art form, and you're sticking to a very rigid structure usually in jazz. But there's also things like if I play in an R&B band and I play a pop solo, that 8-bar solo might serve the song. And it's a little different than playing jazz where the thesis is to improvise.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, a singer can embellish a melody, a blues melody, for example, and that's an improvisational element. But also even classical musicians who are playing very rigid, written, a Beethoven sonata, when they phrase a melody, they're going to do it different than anybody else.
Yeah, I would call that more interpretation, though, not improvisation.
Sure. Well, for the purpose of the show, I wouldn't
Oh.
mind having somebody on that did something like that. But that's kind of the thesis of the show is like this music scene that doesn't rely on doing the same thing over and over again that you've practiced a million times. That says spontaneity is a risk that can provide rewards that
Yes.
you don't get any other way.
High risk, high reward endeavor.
I wanted to kind of avoid doing a genre show. Like we're going to have some jazz musicians on the show, but I don't want to do a jazz show. We're going to have some free improvisational musicians on the show, but I don't want it to just be that. How would you define our scene, the scene that you and I kind of fit into?
Like the Brooklyn improvised music scene. That's a good question. That's what people say when you need to stall.
Well, I think it's kind of, to be fair, I think it's maybe impossible to define it.
Yeah.
It's so diverse And I mean that in both senses of the word. The music and the people are both diverse people. I, for one, am very excited to embark on this with you because I really think the formal music scene kind of latches onto a few famous people instead, and it leaves out a whole lot of compelling, dynamic, passionate artists who people would love to see and learn about. And so I'm really excited just to display them. This isn't really about us, even though we're going to play with a lot of these people.
Yeah.
It's about the guests, and they deserve to be seen and heard. And I think people will enjoy seeing those people.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So let's jump in and
Okay.
ask a couple questions, like
To one another.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the traditional interview format.
Okay.
Be anything but that. So here's my first question: how long are you going to go? You're a new mother.
Yes.
You have a 1-year-old daughter.
Yes.
Who's become my favorite person. No offense.
Me too.
But
Me
she's
too.
my favorite. How long are you going to wait? And I know it's been COVID, but how long are you going to be this irresponsible before you actually take her to Burning Man? I mean, how?
That's the perfect opening question.
Yeah.
I've gone with my husband to
Uh-huh.
Burning Man 7 times in a row.
Just 7?
Just 7.
Yeah.
And then we decided, okay, I went pregnant, and
Wow.
then the year that the baby was born, we're like, we're
How
gonna
pregnant? How pregnant were you?
I think it was like 4 months.
Oh wow, that's serious.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I have a belly, but now I look at the pictures and it's like nothing.
Right.
But-
In retrospect.
Yes. So basically we haven't missed a Burning Man since our first one because the 2 were canceled because of COVID.
Okay.
So if
We have a perfect record.
yes, exactly. If we take little Naomi in 2022, that might work out well.
Are you planning on taking her that young?
Thinking about it.
Great. And why is this event so important to you? It's not just a music festival like Coachella, right? They have music, but that's not all it is. Can you explain to people
Burner would say it is not a festival.
Okay.
Do not call it a festival.
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Please
It's
forgive
okay.
me. Should I leave?
Get out.
Why is this such a thing to you? I mean, people who go, they're like, you don't understand. It's a transcendent experience.
Yeah, when some people go and they'll say like Happy New Year because it feels like a cleansing of the year. It's in August and September. It's not in January, but it feels like this is where you go to cleanse and find something of yourself and then go back into society and continue on. Try to bring a little piece of the playa with you.
You definitely seem like you get something out of your system when you go every year.
Yeah, it's the ultimate free expression.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. When I look at it, videos, photos of it, it seems like a bunch of people doing things that are unnecessary, that are whimsical and passionate. And when I think about that, that sounds like art to me.
I really like that.
Do you
It's like
see it
Burning
as
Man
the whole
is-
thing as a piece of art itself? Would you call it that?
I see it a microcosm of all of society in a way. You build a city together, and you have to contend with people's emotions. It's not all hippy dippy, yay, we're all happy. Some people, their response is to poke at people, and it's not all dancing and doing drugs. It's could be wholesome. A lot of kids go. There's Kidsville there. I've seen Stravinsky's Firebird performed there on ballet. I see everything you can think of. There's 2 symphonies. It's like no joke. It's a beautiful place.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you play music,
Yeah.
when we play, you play with so much instinct. And maybe you disagree, but I disagree with you. I'm going to just say that's what it is.
Okay.
I've been watching you
didn't
play for
disagree yet.
several years, and you're the most instinctive musician that I've ever played with. So here's my question. What's up with instinct?
Well, it's something that I like about playing free improv or anything that is fairly loose. You could be playing in constructs, but like I compose for the performer to be able to express themselves and use those instincts. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know how I do it. I just think It's like being in a conversation with somebody. Cues, listening, social cues. I mean, sometimes it's not easy getting to know somebody or whatever, but that's just the first thing I can relate it to.
How would you tell someone who's looking to be a little bit more in the moment? Does that come from practicing scales or?
No.
No, really?
You practice your technique so you have full command over your instrument and over your facility, so that you could do whatever you want when you want to.
Would you say letting go is what you mean?
I think it has a lot to do with hearing the aggregate sound. That's hearing what's going on in the room and also feeling the energy of the room and seeing what you need to play to fit into that.
Okay. I'm just wondering why so many people don't get that close to it as you do.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think a lot of people do, though.
Just put it on your piano. Like, no. That's lovely.
I'll just use it. I'm
Charlie Hayden's improvisation class when I went to Cal Arts, and he never talked about a scale or chord or a rhythm or a form or anything that you would think a class on improvisation would talk about. He would talk about his dog or horses or, Italian food for like 20 minutes. And about the time I was thinking, what the hell am I doing here? He would say one thing that you would take with you forever. It would change the way you see art and music. When I was in his class, he changed the name of the class from improvisation, which I think it had been for 25 years, to spirituality in music.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How do you, Kat Toren, see music as connected to spirituality? I'm not talking about religion or anything. I don't want to get into that, but just the idea of something deeper in life than just scales and chords.
Can I just parallel that into a question I wanted to ask you?
Please.
Because I think that it could...
You can do whatever you want. There's no rules here.
I think it could blend into a conversation. When I've been sitting down at the instrument, and I think I told you this at a session the other day, but I'm relating it a lot to meditating and how difficult meditating is, because essentially practicing is meditating until you're actually making sounds, and maybe still then it is, but I'm just sitting there and I'm like, what am I doing? Stuff is coming up. That's what's going on right now.
As you're playing?
No. I sit down and I'm like, get me out of here.
Okay.
Just like if one is going through something and you want to meditate and you're sitting and you're like, I can't sit here.
Yeah, I always feel sad when people say I can't meditate because my brain's going too fast and I can't stop my thoughts, and I'm like, that's it. That's
exactly.
You're meditating.
Exactly.
If you're shaking hands with your mind in that way and
Uh-huh.
you see it, then that's what it is. If you do it more, maybe it'll still out a little bit and clear just a bit, but that's not really the goal. It just be there. And
Right. So I sit there, and sometimes I just sit there until I'm ready to play something.
John Cage?
Sometimes I get up and I leave.
What's the John Cage piece?
4 minutes and 33 seconds?
Right.
Yes, silence.
For anyone that doesn't know, that's a piece of where the performer just sits and the sounds of the room peace.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Controversial
there's
at the time he wrote it, yeah.
Right, exactly. What is music?
Right, that's what he was trying
Begs
to say.
the question. So I feel like right now this practicing being with my instrument, spirituality is kind of a common thread in what's going on with me these days, because I sit there and all this stuff comes up. I think free improv is a perfect place to discover oneself. I try to get all my students to just improvise. Some of them have a more challenging time than others.
Right.
They think they're doing something wrong. I tell them, of course, you're not doing anything wrong. This is exactly how you discover things about your instrument. It's how you discover that you can play fast if you don't care what notes you're playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. That's so great.
Yeah.
I think the first time we played, and it's been COVID, but the
Yeah.
first time we played after quite a while, which you had, you have the little rugrat running around, and you said something like, I haven't been practicing lately, so don't have much expectations, Ocean. And I was like, okay, whatever, Kat. And we played, and I said, I think maybe the best I've ever heard you play. And we talked about it, but I think maybe the fact that when we don't have the energy to think about bullshit, maybe it clears the way for I just want to play for the sense of playing, just for the soul.
For the sheer enjoyment.
Yes.
For the sheer enjoyment, there's a lot to be said for playing your instrument and feeling like you're confident. You're just going to play better. It doesn't matter if you warmed up that day. You're
Right.
going to play better.
Right. Because when we practice, we have to think about being better at something, or maybe I didn't do that quite enough or quite right or whatever.
You're overthinking.
Yeah, but you have to criticize yourself. You have to scrutinize yourself. But that's not the goal of playing music, is to have this perfect technique or this perfect time.
It's it's twofold. It's to feel something in yourself. Like, why would we do it if we felt nothing?
Yeah.
We would not do it. And assuming you're playing your instrument for an audience, or one day for an audience, it's to have those people listening feel those emotions as well.
Can you just call me before every gig and tell me that?
Yes.
Appreciate that. You could have a service, Kat Toren's. Time for our special segment that we're going to try to do every show. This is called Wish I'd Known Then, which is a segment we'll do with pretty much every guest, everyone that wants to do it,
Okay.
about something they've learned that they'd like to share, something that you wish you'd known earlier in your life. It doesn't have to be about music. It could be about life, but, we are talking from the perspective of being artists. So, what's something you wish you'd known when you were younger?
Well, yeah, I'm going to relate it to music because that's the topic of the show.
Yeah.
There's a couple things. One is to practice a lot when you're younger because you will be surprised how little time you have when you're older.
Right.
Back then, someone told me this. I think it was Clarence Penn at the Banff Center. I think so. He's like, practice a lot now when you're young, or whoever it was. And I was like, I thought that was a pretty good idea, and I did that. But he's like, you were not going to have any time when you're older. But I didn't really believe him. Like, what could possibly take up all my time?
Right.
Everything will take up all your time.
Yeah.
So you'll see.
Things don't stick as much.
Plus, you can't concentrate as well. Not that I'm old, but I find I don't have as much, I don't know.
Even when I can concentrate, the sticky note doesn't stick to the wall every time that I don't learn like my students do. My 10-year-old students, they learn. Yeah. I mean, it sticks, but like I have to do something over and over again before it actually sticks. So.
Yeah, okay, here's my other one. It's a little more vague, but I want it to be vague. You don't always have to explain yourself.
Great. I tempted to ask, but I think it's best to just leave that as it is.
Yeah.
I think that's lovely. I would even amend it to like, maybe you never have to explain yourself.
Maybe.
So mine is, I wish I'd known that nobody really knows what the hell they're doing. I had this idea that some people knew about how to play music or how to book gigs or how to have a career or how to this and that and this and that. And really, nobody does. And that's not to say that you can't learn things, skills for your career, skills for being a musician, scales, chords, et cetera, et cetera. And you should. You should, and especially these days in the information age, you can learn anything. So that's great. But there's no such thing as a person who knows how to promote themselves or how to book gigs or how to start a series at a venue where they feature other artists. You just jump in and you learn as you go. And I wish I wish I had known more of that. I really had an idea up until about 5 minutes ago that there was a right way and a wrong way.
Yeah.
And it paralyzed me for many years. So
I can relate to that. Just the other day on the radio, I heard a little clip of Michelle Obama. Basically she was saying, I've been in the room at the table with everyone you can think of, from CEOs of this to president of this, literally the president of the United States.
Right.
And her thing was, I want to tell you that you're good enough to be in that room. And that's I think that, I mean, of course, to a certain extent, but I think what she's trying to say is the same thing as what you're saying.
Yeah, she's not saying don't study history.
Of course. But she's saying that everybody is just trying their best at what they're doing and figuring it out.
Right. You know, the music scene itself changes so rapidly. I mean, now everybody's on Spotify, but then it'll be something else. And, I would have thought it's too late for me to learn how to do this at any point. Even 2 years ago, I was thinking this.
Yeah.
But since it keeps changing, a 19-year-old kid who jumps head in and learns how to do it is no different than a 35-year-old person who jumps in and learns how to do it, because it's always different anyway. So you have to keep learning it as it goes along anyway. So.
Yeah, and that is another thing about the music scene that's really nice is there's this sort of mentor-mentee mentality. A lot of ments there.
That's great.
But also the young people and middle-aged and senior people are all playing music together, and I don't really feel like it's a competition, and I love that about music.
That's on my good days, I feel that too.
On your good days?
Yeah.
Okay.
On my bad days, I'm like, why is everybody making this a competition? When we play as a duo, the piano is a bit like an orchestra, and that's not the roles that we necessarily play. Like I'm the opera singer and you're the orchestra. That's not what we're doing. But you have a lot of possibilities that I don't have. And I've always been really jealous of pianists, and a lot of pianists are like, yeah, but I'm jealous of you.
Yeah, we have too many possibilities. Sight reading is way harder.
Yeah. Plus, we can do so many things. I can bend notes. I can play quarter tones on my instrument.
Yeah.
I can start a note and it grows after it starts, whereas you can't really do that on the piano. So I'm really jealous of that. Can you just talk about that? Like how, when you're playing improvisational music with somebody, I don't care, jazz, free improvisation, whatever, contemporary music, what is it like to be able to define the tone and the harmony with one gesture, one laying down of the hand, and all of a sudden it goes from major to minor? Like how do you cope with that kind of possibility?
When you were just saying going from major to minor, I felt it. It's like,
I know you did.
It's not scary. It's over time you learn that you have a great deal of control, and that means that you can put a lot of your feeling into something. It feels really good.
I'm sure it does. I have to play a lot of notes to establish what you can establish with one hand pushing down once. It's very frustrating to think about that.
Yeah. We play duo,
I wouldn't trade you. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's a comfortable situation. It's actually more challenging if, say, you're playing free and there's another chordal instrument, or even if there's a bass player, because things can change around you very fast. Then you really need to be in the moment and just let go of what you maybe wanted to do going forward and just sit into what is happening around you a little bit, to a certain extent.
Yeah, that sounds right, knowing you and how you play. That sounds...
Yeah, well, do you ever get frustrated? Say, I decided to go here with the harmony, and that's not what you wanted?
When we play free, you and I, we don't just play ambiguous sounds. We're playing major, minor. We're playing in a certain key sometimes.
We do it all. Sometimes it's shades.
Sometimes it's atonal. Sometimes it's tonal. But when it's tonal, you can play something that doesn't sound quite right. So I think the key for me is just to really listen, and if something is a little different, then that's okay.
Do you ever feel like you just have to accept it? Like, I wish Kat didn't go there.
Not with you.
Oh, that's nice.
With other people. Yeah. You're a very instinctive and spontaneous person. Now, I probably play a few things that it's like, that didn't really fit over what she was doing, but
I don't feel that way.
I think that I don't either, to be honest. It's fine. I think what we have is a lot of trust. There's so much trust to it that it's like, it's going to work out. It's going to be fine either way. And we can just relax and kind of transcend the whole like right and wrong kind of thing.